Hi, my name is Sydney Leslie, and today I'm going to be talking about pornography. And that is because today's aggressive themes in porn normalizes sexual violence and domination towards women and reinforces the concept of the woman as the other, which I will explain later. So what I mean by aggressive is that 88% of mainstream scenes are considered aggressive, with 41% involving open hand slapping, and a strong majority of the time it is performed by a man and aimed at a woman. So it's important to define pornography, or define the types of pornography that I'm going to be talking about. So for the sake of this presentation, I'm focusing on hardcore mainstream porn. So hardcore is anything that shows penetration, oral sex, or ejaculation, and mainstream being anything that you would see on like most viewed or top-rated pages of porn sites. And it's important to note that it's not a part of subcultures like BDSM, which can be seen inaccurately depicted in the recent 50 Shades of Grey. So some statistics are just that 12% of all websites are pornographic, and about 2 out of 3 viewers are men. So about 70% of men ages 18 to 24 watch porn at least once a month, and so this shows that porn has an influence on our culture and that it's considered normal and common. So when you're analyzing pornography, it's important to define the male gaze, which was theorized by Laura Mulvey in her 1975 essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. So a gaze in any form of analysis is just how an audience analyzes the characters that are presented. So the male gaze specifically is the perspective of a heterosexual man viewing a woman in which the woman is always sexualized. So in porn, all porn is catered to the male gaze because a majority of mainstream hardcore porn is made for men. So a lot of people would think that watching pornography is pretty much harmless, but there are several studies that contradict this. So in one done by UCLA, where they interviewed high school to college-age men that regularly watch pornography, around 50% admitted that they were aroused by porn where a woman was forced into sex. 25 to 30 admitted that they would rape if they could get away with it. And 53 admitted the same thing if they were given a passage to read which described sexual assault and then asked if they would recreate the scene. So in another study by Sherry Height, over 7,000 of the men that she interviewed admitted to having wanted to rape at one point or another, showing that these feelings are widespread among men who regularly watch porn. So there are several theories that are often looked at when analyzing misogynistic sexuality, the first of which being Freud's Oedipus complex. So the myth of Oedipus is just that Oedipus is adopted and he grows up and he unknowingly kills his biological father and marries his mother and they have kids. So Freud's Oedipus complex is that a young child, in this case a boy, sees his father as having complete control over his mother, whether or not this actually be true, and becomes jealous of this power, developing a hatred for their father and an attraction for their mother, which in this case manifests sexually. So many theorize that this is why boys go on to watch porn, because it simulates this form of control through misogynistic scenes. So they're artificially putting themselves into this role. So with the idea that the Oedipus complex is driving men to want dominion over women, sex itself is harmful to women because it is a means of killing or stabbing the idea of a more powerful woman, making all sexuality based on pornography inherently violent. So a second theory is Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex, woman as the other, which she defined in her book, The Second Sex, which was published in 1949. So she's basically saying that men are in leading roles and women are not, which is statistically shown all over the place. And so othering is really a common concept. It's just the idea that I am me and you are the other, but Beauvoir's form of othering is that men are free and individual while women are dependent objects. and that men then, in a sense, are human and that women are not necessarily. So she specifically touches on sexual relationships in her chapter, Sexual Initiation, saying that sexual initiation is often unexpected and brutal, and this is reinforced by pornography having to do with teens and college-aged women. Because they're seen as sexually naive, then they're taken, brutalized, and thought of as a whore. So this reinforces the idea of women as the other, and that they are objects to be taken and sexualized, and that is their one purpose. She also theorizes that male orgasm is of the highest importance in sex, because male climax primarily indicates the end of sex, while female orgasm is not really required. So this is again seen in porn because female orgasm is rarely shown while male orgasm almost always is. So this allows female sexuality to be strongly overshadowed by male sexuality. So with all this information, it comes down to the idea that porn is inherently harmful to women, and people become so desensitized to what they're seeing that the aggression is constantly building on itself. So sexual liberation has not yet been achieved and will not be until we acknowledge this sexual subjugation of women and this reflection of a male-dominated world. While breaking the idea that sex is taboo is important, we need to find a way that does not continually abuse an entire group of people. Which brings me to the question, what are we going to do about it? Thank you.